says. Patience. That's me. Dang. Already got a throat shakalaka. I don't know if I like this lipstick, but you know what? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hello. Wait, let me do that again. There we go. That's a good one. From here on out, I am never going to announce.
It's my happy place.
I'm never going to announce who I'm going to do before the day I do it. Because every time I do, I get sent tired spells, shut up spells, all these things. And I was hoping that one day I don't have to worry about that, but clearly not today. That's okay though. I ain't gonna go anywhere. I'm coming on. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Patience. I'm your favorite spirit medium. Oh, you remind me of a girl that I once knew. See your face whenever I look at you. I don't know. That song's relevant. Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Patience. I'm your favorite spirit medium, host of Spirit News on all major platforms. We're here with another celebrity read where we are doing spiritual psychic development, and we are tapping in with crossed over loved ones to get answers and to learn about their perspectives of their lives, of things that were hidden, things that need to be revealed. It's a 2-for-1. You know, we're in a symbiotic relationship. You help me develop my spiritual abilities, and I will help you to cross over or reveal truths that are hidden that need to be said for healing. Okay, so if you want to follow any of our socials, we'd be happy to have you. You can follow, or you can go to the link tree in the description bar. Hello, thanks for being here. Good morning. We're talking to Carrie Fisher today. I've been getting so many signs from Carrie Fisher. It's wild. She's been sending me lots of fishes everywhere, fish. And there was a fish on this TikTok message. There was a fish at work, and we don't even sell fish. And there was all these cards that have all these fish in it. And I was like, okay, my name's Patience. My name is Patience, Patience with Spirit. I'm here with my very own spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle. I never do spiritual development without them. I highly suggest that you be in relationship with your own spirit team. If you are doing any spiritual development, you cannot do it on your own. You need to have your spirit guides so they can guide you for the right things that are right for you. And for the right things that are made for your electromagnetic field. If you go on a spiritual journey and you're awakening at this time, don't do it on your own. You can't see from a higher perspective what it is that is on your field, or things that you need to heal, or things that you cannot see. So that was for somebody. Hey, Roy. I'm not single. I am happily married with a family, beautiful family. I'm so grateful for every day. Okay, so if you guys are living under a rock and you don't know who Carrie Fisher is, she was, oh, wait a second. Oh, here we go. She was the classic Princess Leia from Star Wars. She played that role in all of the Star Wars franchise. She was born October 21st, 1956 in Burbank, California. And she crossed over December 27th, 2016 from a heart attack going from London to LA. Yes, the princess. And what's interesting, or what I find interesting about her, and I'm not saying this to be superficial. Oh my gosh. Oh, Holy Divine Spirit, please remove, please remove any negative energy that's preventing me from reading this. Energy, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jiminy Crickets. That just came over me. Ooh. Shake it off. Jeez, this is why I don't announce before I do the reads. I don't announce who I'm gonna do, because every time I do, there's energy that gets projected at me that tries to make me stop reading it. But I'm not gonna stop reading it. But that's why I don't announce who I read beforehand. So, what's interesting is she's born a day after my daughter's birthday. So that's interesting. She crossed over on a day that one of my very first boyfriend, well, I'd say my first official boyfriend from high school, James Winchester, is the same birthday that she passed away on, December 27th, 2016. So that's funny. There's two people in my lives where her birth and her death correlate to two people in my life. So I thought that was funny. She was an American actress, writer, mental health advocate. Her career spanned nearly 5 decades and included roles in more than over 50 films and television shows and documentaries. She's best known for her portrayal of Princess Leia Organa in the original Star Wars trilogy. Okay, and what's also interesting is that her mother, who's Debbie Reynolds, everyone knows Debbie Reynolds, she crossed over a day after, and she is quoted saying, "I just want to be with Carrie." So Carrie had a heart attack on the plane, and then her mother had a stroke and crossed over. She was only married once. She has a brother. What's interesting about what I was getting, or what she was sharing with me, was something about her mental health identity. At a young age, she got diagnosed with bipolar and manic depression at 28. And it's funny because, I'm not a psychologist, and I don't claim to be, but what Spirit is teaching me about the way our identity works and the way our minds work, in your natural state, you are perfect. In your non-physical state, you're perfect. Your non-physical energy is matching pure divine, pure positive energy. So if you grow up and you're in your 20s, or even as a teenager or a child, and you're exhibiting depression, manic episodes, mood swings, bipolar, certain imbalances within your mental state, Spirit says that most likely it's attributed to something. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. It is directly related to either to plague. Spirit said plague. I was just going to say it's directly correlated to your quality of thoughts. And your quality of thoughts is directly correlated to your traumatic experiences and your environment. And if these things are true, and I'm just the guinea pig for you guys doing the energy experimental work based on Spirit's guidance, based on what, my particular needs are from my particular traumas to keep me out of an imbalanced state, they have brought to my attention that there's a lot of things that can happen as a child that can be directly related to mental health concerns that you're not aware of. And if you guys watch me, you know that I've talked about how in my healing journey, in order to step into this role, I have had to come to a certain level of acceptance of of things I cannot change. Throw shakalaka. And so By doing that, by following the guidance of spirit and healing small drops of things that happen that I don't know about or I don't remember, or things that are repressed, by getting it in slow drips and being able to have spontaneous memory recollection of certain events that are directly tied to my field being dirty, or my heart being cold. By being able to slowly come into remembrance with them, it's easier to integrate those experiences back into your soul. It's easier to retrieve those fragmented pieces, because every time you get a emotional trauma, you get fragmented, and a shard or a piece of you either goes with the person, the person that inflicted the, spirit said sinful, that inflicted the pain, gets a piece of that. And it's up to you to understand that you need to reclaim those pieces. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to remember them or relive them, but it's more of, and I don't know how it will be for everyone else, but from my own experience, what spirit does is get you through a certain threshold of integration and finding joy, and teaches you how to learn yourself and be happy with yourself now, and get yourself to that place. And then you'll be taking a spirit, they'll guide you to take a spirit bath, and you'll be rubbing some salt on your feet, and boom, boom, memory recollection. But you're in a place now where spirit's gotten you to the safe space for you to recall that memory, or to reclaim that fragment of that piece that has been separated from you. Brilliant. And so the point I'm making is that with Carrie Fisher, the vibe I'm getting is that something very great happened to her, perhaps when she did not remember, or as a child, or she wasn't correlating her mental health concerns to certain childhood situations, or something like that. Oh, Holy Divine Spirit, please remove this energy. Please remove this energy. Thank you. Jiminy Crickets. Okay. And so we're gathering the components and the data for the next episode of Spirit News, called Spirit and Identity, because we asked the question, well, what does identity look like to Spirit? And so Spirit's been bringing me a lot of celebrities and readings and situations that are bringing forward information about the different ways we distort our identities. And Carrie Fisher was bringing to me that as soon as she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and manic depression, that became her identity. And she kind of poured into that being her identity, and that being her reality, and that being her truth, and that being who she is now. And I'm going to have to accept this about myself, instead of asking herself, and it's not her fault. She didn't realize that you have to ask and have a relationship with spirit to be able to identify those things, because it may not be something that you can have access to, because your field, or where you're at now in this identity, doesn't allow you to be in a safe enough space for your soul to help you receive that truth. And if you are identifying and pouring in and growing the seeds of mental illness and growing the seeds of depression, and that's becoming your reality, and now all your thoughts and all of your choices and all of your relationships are based on this identity that you're attaching yourself to. So Spirit is saying that that's something that, that Carrie Fisher may have accidentally tied herself to or bound herself to. And in by doing that, you set yourself up to live an identity that may not be what your soul's actual identity is. And it puts you in a place of like a pull, like a like instead of a flow, it's a pull. You know, it pulls you, or you're chasing something. We're gonna get into it to kind of let spirit articulate it, but that's in my own reference library. That's kind of what I was getting, and I definitely want to dive deeper on that to understand her and to understand what the root cause of her bipolar and manic depression is. Spirit has told us that if you are depressed, you're living in the past. And if you have anxiety, you're living in fear of not having control of the future. Or you keep thinking about things in the future that, you know, fear-based things in the future that hasn't happened yet. And Spirit has told us about bipolar, because we've asked about bipolar. We've asked them what that is. And Spirit says, don't be fearful. It's basically when a soul has a soul mission, but the physical vessel is trying to be something different than what the soul wants. And so you're living in two different realities. And that's why it can be manic. Because in one sense, you're middle, yeah. And you're like in the middle of two possibilities. Because you're trying to be an identity that you've attached yourself to, that you believe is your reality, and you believe that this is who I am now, and this is how I'm going to operate, and these are the things I'm going to do. But your soul had another idea that you didn't follow because you weren't listening, or you were cut off from the knowing, or cut off from the allowance of following a different path that may have been not ideal for your life or for your environment. And so you're in the middle between two worlds of knowing that something else makes you happy, but feeling obligated to follow a path that's already unfolded, you know. So you're like in the middle. And that's why it's bipolar. That's why it's two. It's dualistic. It's because your soul is pulling you over here. You have this feeling inside that there's something that you're not, you know, there's something that's not completely feeling right about what you're doing, but you're making yourself do it anyway. And so you're experiencing the negative aspect of doing something you feel obligated to do, but you're not identifying that it's an obligation because you've attached yourself to a certain identity or idea that's your reality. I hope that makes sense. You can read my mind. If you were somewhere, you would control all the women there. Come on, let someone Beelzebub power. Enough patience. When are we getting into the wild stuff? Goku, you gonna curse me? Because I'd love getting cursed by you. No, you curse yourself. You curse yourselves. Okay, so, and then I was, she wanted me to do the magic cards. The Magic the Gathering cards. Because I don't know why. But I was shuffling them, and this like flipped out, like fell out of it. And it was interesting because it says Reckoner's Bargain. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. You gain life equal to the sacrificed permanent's mana value, and mana being life force. Restricted auctions are held once a year at the Dragon's Lair, the sacred neutral meeting ground of all Reckoner gangs. And then when I was getting ready to come on, Spirit, she said meeting. And so and then I was watching some like clips of her, just like shorts, because I didn't want to like get too much information because I don't want to be led. But there was this vibe I was getting, and I don't know if it's true. I'm just going to say it for the data, but I'm sorry, I just thought I saw something. Um, it's something having to do with Star Wars. There was like this shift in her energy that has to do with Star Wars. And I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. I also think there's a mother wound here. There's a mother wound. Um, and what I will say, I was looking at Debbie Reynolds, is these two women, I'm not saying that they are masculine, but I'm saying their features grew very sharp and masculine as they as they got older. What was very like soft and feminine, grew to be this like sharp masculine appearance with the heavy eye. And I don't know, there's just something about that. I can't like put my finger on it, but there's something about it that I just want to say before we start, because I'm not sure how it correlates, but I see it. So yeah, so something about her mother, Debbie Reynolds. I pulled her up too. There's something here in their relationship that's I want to use the word binding, bound together, something like that. She was born on April 1st, Debbie Reynolds, 1932, and she passed December 28th, the day after her daughter, in 2016. It kind of feels like competitive. It kind of feels like bossy. It kind of feels a little like critical. It kind of feels a little judgmental at times. And that might have played a role in Carrie's childhood. Something about a bargaining tool. Something about a bargaining tool. And this card is over I am, the sun, which is the ego, masculine energy. Participate. Yeah. Okay. I just want to say before we really get into this is that when it comes to doing celebrity reads, 99% of the time, because it's a fertility cult, it's a black male fertility cult of Baal or Moloch or whatever their names are. For a long time it's been that way, and so whatever comes out is for entertainment purposes only. I can't prove it in a court of law. And humans, no matter how famous they were, no matter how innocent and wholesome they're supposed to have been perceived by us, they are human, and there are things that all humans go through that they take to the grave and they don't share, or they don't come into awareness of. And so if you're here and something comes up and it triggers you, then please feel free to come back another time when you're ready, or to give yourself a break and to not listen to the rest. But there may be something that we don't know, that we're not privileged to, that needs to come out, and we need to respect that. I can't control that, and I'm sorry if it does, but I hope it doesn't. But we're here. We have to reveal to heal, and so God says you can't reveal things that are hidden. I mean, you can't heal things that are hidden. So as much as this is thanks for being here. As much as this is spiritual development, this is also God's tool that they're using to change the energy and to go into heart consciousness. We have to reveal these things from the past in order to shift the dynamic and to shift the timelines and stuff. Okay. So thank you for being here. I'm 24 minutes in and I've gotten like nothing. Okay, thank you. So What I was getting is with the reckoning card, with the masculine energy, is that Carrie may have been used as like a bargaining tool or for assurance in Hollywood. I don't know to what capacity. We know that with what the hell was his name? Carl Reiner? Carl Reiner? What's his name? Carl Reiner? Was that his name? Hold on. Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner. We did a reading for Rob Reiner, and we learned that he bargained his unborn child. And so when his child was born, he forgot about that and ensued the rest. And you can definitely go check that reading out if you want to know more about what we're saying. But in Hollywood, if you want to stay if you want to stay relevant and you want to stay working and you want to stay in the entertainment industry, you have to have a bargaining tool. You have to have something to offer. You have to make sacrifices. Otherwise, you become irrelevant or you get blacklisted or, so on and so forth. And so we're finding that aging celebrities will often make a deal in that way to be able to stay relevant. Okay. I'm not saying that that's what Debbie Reynolds did, but there's something about it that we're going to dive into. It could just be that she sacrificed her daughter in a way where she had a very criticizing, push. She pushed her into doing and being just like her. And, I know from my own daughter, she's 7 now, but at her young age, I'm her role model. I'm the role model that is in her environment. And so she naturally, oh, thank you so much. I love you too. And so naturally, she wants to be like the person in her environment. And that's just a natural thing that children will do. Well, what if your mother's Debbie Reynolds and you happen to be America's sweetheart and you have this idea about what your image is and how you're supposed to be portrayed and perceived, and your mother keeps poking you to, well, do this to your hair. Oh, well, that outfit makes you look a little fat. Oh, well, do you really think you should wear your hair that way? Or, it just kind of feels like that. And in that way, that is, a judgmental, criticizing, be this way. I don't love you, and I'm not going to give you love and attention unless you look a certain way, or unless you are making me look good. And it kind of feels like that. Okay. Why am I commenting? I have no idea. Please read Matthew in the Bible for Jesus' teachings, miracles of full salvation understanding. Okay, so it says, and the thing that stands out about this for me, it says restricted auctions are held once a year at the Dragon's Lair, the sacred neutral meeting ground of all reckoner gangs. Now we know that this fertility cult, they like to have these meetings or parties, or it could be a ritual that happens once a year. And it's restricted, only certain people can go. But if you want to go to it, if you want to cast the spell, you have to sacrifice something. And it has to be of equal, whatever it says, you gain life equal to the sacrificed permanent mana value. Okay, so what you have to sacrifice to this fertility cult has to be of equal or more value to your life force. Okay, so fresh. Spirit said fresh. So children are typically the best, thing you could give them, because they consider that high value. Okay, and I'm not saying. We're talking about mana, so life force, energy force. So if this child comes into this reality in what was the year? 1957, okay, 1956. And, you know, as soon as you have children and you want to start a family, you kind of become obsolete in Hollywood. You know, your value kind of goes down because sex sells. You know, they want people to appear to be single and available because the fans want to imagine themselves in relationships with these celebrities because they're like the most attractive people that are in the movies that we're looking at and we're idolizing, right? So there may have been something here about her mother being a little ruthless in that way, perhaps sacrificing or making an offer of equal or more value to stay relevant, to keep working in the industry, to keep going. It could also mean putting her, you know, it doesn't have to mean like a ritual, but it could also mean putting her child in environments where children shouldn't be. Children shouldn't be in the backstage of bar nightclubs where you're doing acts on stage with drinking and cigarettes. Children shouldn't be in the side stages of movie sets where there's predators and people. You can't be watching them all the time. And so there may be things going on to the child that the child's in an environment that just isn't conducive for a child's growth and development, and that can be a tribute to the adult years of the child having emotional disruptions and imbalances. Okay, so there's something about her choosing her career over raising the children in a traditional way. And that could have been the sacrifice as well. Something about choosing her career over raising the children in a traditional way. Okay. So took out I feel for the moon, self-love in reverse. So there's something about her childhood where she wasn't taught how to self-reflect. You know, there may have been the dynamic where she was striving for her mom's attention, and the way that she got her mom's attention was doing what her mom likes to do. And so there's something about her not really exploring her own talents and exploring her own skills and getting to know herself, because she's trying to get her mom's attention and be this, meet the conditions and requirements that her mom is making for her to be loved by her or to get attention from her. Okay. Hey, Corey. Thanks for being here. So this is where her emotions and her feminine energy may have been disrupted, and her habits and her securities and her emotions and her receptivity and the way she receives love. This is where Lucas, that's so funny because George Lucas made Star Wars. There's something about George Lucas we'll get into as well. So, it just feels like a little girl that didn't ask to be born, that had a really famous mom, that I don't think the mother was actually ready to have a child. She was in the middle of her career, in like the peak of her career. And so she may have put her child in a lot of situations where she could bring her child to inappropriate places that have to do with her career that shouldn't be for a child. And the only way Carrie received love from her, not the only way, but the way that her mom paid attention to her the most was if Carrie was showing interest in what Debbie Reynolds was doing. And so that kind of formed her, because what I'm getting is whatever Carrie Fisher ended up growing up to do was not exactly what she wanted to do or what her soul's path was. She may have been, she may have gotten a big role and that like kind of blew her up. But the reason why she felt, she had all this success but felt so indifferent about it is because it wasn't exactly what her soul came here to do. And so she was doing something different. She was doing something she thought she wanted because that's the way she grew up. And that's the thing about identity is are you really supposed to be doing this? If you're supposed to be doing this, then why are you so unhappy? Like, we should be taking that emotional marker as a sign that there's something I'm doing in my life now that I'm not aware of, that maybe I should change directions. Maybe I should change the direction of this path because I believe, because I keep thinking that this is the path I'm on. I've already gotten so much success by doing it this way, so this must be what I'm supposed to do. But why do I feel so bad? It's because that's not what you're supposed to do. If you were in alignment with what you're supposed to do, then it would feel good, and it would energize you, and it would make you feel joy, and you would feel like you're on drugs, like you're high, but you're not, because you're so like happy. That's what it feels like. And so we have to learn how to follow our emotional GPS system to navigate 1111. Our emotions are the indicator for how you feel, how your soul feels about where you're at now. And if what you're doing, even if you're in a movie, even if you're famous, even if you're making lots of money, are you happy? Does it energize you? Does it take energy away and make you feel grumpy and bipolar and depressed? This career you've chosen, this path you've chosen, that's what we have to look at. What are you talking about? We're talking to Carrie Fisher. Okay? And so something was disrupted at a young age for her that I don't feel like she ever got a chance to reveal to herself, because it's under the moon. Arthur. And King Arthur keeps coming up. And I don't think that, and I think the problem with our society is that we don't understand our emotions, and we are like, okay, we'll go to a doctor and get medicine for that. But that's not going to fix the cause that disrupted the emotional imbalance. The medicine is just a crutch to get through life for a little bit. Secrets surrounding my death. Secrets surrounding my death, she said. Okay, so I was getting that. And then I think I got hexproof in reverse. So something about not being a marble, not being able to repel spell work, not being able to overcome negative thoughts, not being able to overcome criticism, not being able to overcome negative thoughts that can be put into your vortex and then kind of like blow up. You have one thing right. You are eternal, but you are not God. Neither am I. Neither of us made the heavens and earth. The Son of God. All right, Randy. Hers. I know who you are, Randy. I'm going to hide you, okay? Because this is already a hard energy to read. Meds fix the symptoms, not the cause. Exactly. So there's something about her, taking the meds and, doing what society says you should do for, going to therapy, but never actually like getting to the reason or the identifying marker of why she's so much in her thoughts, why she has these negative thoughts. And like I said, in childhood, just like us, it happened for us. You may have things in your childhood that you don't remember affecting you, that you don't remember happening, okay? Oh, Spirit said circle, and look, there's circles all over this guy. So it says, as long as there are no cards in your library, Living Conundrum has base power and toughness and has flying in vigilance. Yeah, but it's in reverse. So not being able to, it's like internalizing a lot of criticism. Her mom criticizes her all the time. And so when she meets people, places, and things, they're going to match her mother's energy and the way that her mother shows up for her, because she hasn't identified that that's something that she keeps internalizing. That's a thing, that a pattern that she keeps on allowing to affect her, which makes her unable to repel the criticism and stuff. So she really internalizes a lot of those things and she takes them to heart. She really does. Does the high priestess block the energy or allow it to flow? And yes, I'm well aware I'm infinite consciousness and we're all connected. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Jesus Christ loves justice. When you sin against him, you will perish. His name's Yeshua. Repent of your divination. Wow, I got a lot of trolls today. I knew I would, though. Okay, so she's not protected. She doesn't have the skills or the to be free from her thoughts and her inner critic that was built as a child. It was made from her mother. Okay, and so there's something about that. Okay. Can I have another magic card, Carrie? Spider. Spider. Oh my gosh, that's so funny because her mom was the voice of Charlotte in Charlotte's Web, when Charlotte is the spider. So that's funny. Many died here. Menace. Oh, I think she's saying her mom was a menace. Her mom had very high expectations under love. Her mom had very high expectations for beauty, for love, for the way that she showed up. She's like, you need to be a certain way for people to love you, because that's how Debbie Reynolds was raised. Debbie Reynolds was in the golden era of, she was like one of the last golden era actresses of that time, of that era. And in that era, it was all about, looking very wholesome and looking very, proper and polite and like a little lady, looking like you wouldn't hurt a fly. But she's a spider, so she would hurt a fly. Okay, her mentality to raise a daughter, she needs to be perfect. She needs to be the representation of me. Hey, good morning, Robin. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Lucas. She needs to be the representation of, spirits of twins. This could have been a twin flame dynamic. Didn't I say at the beginning they feel kind of bound together? Like when I look at their pictures together, they feel like inseparable in spirit, like they're bound together. Act. Ominous parcel. Looks like devil horns. The rest of a Halo's assistant arrived over the following week. Oh, and look at this. The artifact. There's a little angel next to this, the word artifact. And this is under I act. Sex drive, aggression, conflict, passion, energy, action, Mars. The god of war, instability, conflict. Yeah, they may have fought all the time. This mother and daughter, they fought all the time. Always. There's something about aggression and a sex drive. I don't know what that's about, but I was getting something lesbian vibes, but I don't know why.
Is this a ritual?
Is this a ritual? some kind of ritual, and that could mean the ritual could be their choice to argue all the time, to fight all the time. There's something that they're in constant conflict about. Let me see if I can clarify this. Carrie, Carrie, that might be talking to them both. What is this? What are you in constant conflict about? What is this war between you two? We'll do the stickers to clarify. What are this war between you two? Which of all my important nothings shall I tell you first? Which of all these important nothings shall I tell you first? It was nothing. They were just constantly at each other's throats. What were the subconscious things?
Hello and welcome.
Hello and welcome. Wanting to appear like everything's all right. Wanting to appear like everything's peaceful. Yeah, some kind of something sexual. I don't know what, but Earth and the moon. I told you they're bound together. There's something that's bound them together. What has bound them together? Don't wait for opportunities, create them. I grow. Jupiter. Don't wait for opportunities, create them. Religion. Harmony, teamwork, cooperation. Can you clarify this? What is this conflict between you two? Put your shoulder to the wheel. Put your shoulder to the wheel. What's that mean? Put your shoulder to the wheel. Put your shoulder to the wheel?
Alive.
Work hard, make a strenuous effort. Okay, I gotcha. Oh. She's like, peace out. Oh my God. No. No way. No fucking way. No way. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I don't know if this is true, but I'm gonna say it. To be in the industry, to make it in the industry, I mean, Carrie already had a famous mother, but there's something about her mother saying, if you want to make it in Hollywood, you have to play the game. You're a woman, so you have to know your role. You have to do what you can do in order to solidify your place if you want to be in this industry. You know, it's almost like if you like I don't want to say sleep your way to the top because I don't know all the information yet.
Basement holds darkness.
But there is something about, you have to do what I had to do if you want to get to be the greatest. If you want to... Foz agreed I was going to mention the shirt. Oh, thank you. Thank you. These cards are demonic. The answers are in a book. The best-selling book of all time. Okay. So so that might have been what bound them together in this energy, what may have made Carrie more angry at her mom or upset at her mom, that her mom, like, because I wouldn't say that it's motherly advice to say, well, just go sleep your way to the top and you'll make it. Just go sleep with as many people as possible, or always sleep with the boss and then you'll get the job. Something like that. Sleep with the director and you'll get the job. There's something like that. Okay? Don't it says don't wait for opportunities, create them, and then put your shoulder to the wheel. That may have been something that really bothered Carrie, something that her soul, like, was conflicted about. Like, that doesn't really feel like me. I don't really feel like I should have to do that. This is a different day and age. And her mom was like, well, I can get you a meeting with so and so, but you have to do the rest. You have to create the opportunity, something like that. Okay. That I don't know if her mom and her separated or had like a falling out because of this, or this may have been a reason why she wanted to say deuces to her mom, because some advice her mom gave her about, doing what you got to do to make it in Hollywood. She may have done it, and it may have like upset her or something, or made her feel some kind of way about her mom. Tell me more about this. Yeah, Carrie Fisher's a lion. That may have been what really upset her. If there was any separation between them, or like a period of no contact or something, because she's a lone lion. She's alone. It may have happened because of something with Star Wars. And she's in space with the stars. Some kind of she went into Star Wars with the heart of a lion, but came out like this with the heart of a gerbil. And she's like, peace out, I'm not, this isn't for me. Something like that. Yeah. Something about, tell me more about yeah, this is under I achieve, under Saturn. Honor, wisdom, ambition, structure, discipline, restriction. Okay. Or I'm sorry. I achieve with the lion. So her achievement, it started with Star Wars. I knew there was something with Star Wars. I didn't know what yet, but there's something with Star Wars where she may have used sexuality to achieve her goals based on the advice given to her by her mother, to be original and for progression. The rebellion, to rise up against the rebellion. That's funny. Star Wars is one of my favorite movies. Me too. Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. So that's how she evolved into this role. Okay. And under Neptune, I dream, dead inside but caffeinated. Yeah. And it's because of this role, and whatever happened to get this role, or whatever she did for these movies to stay in these movies, made her feel dead inside. Dead inside but caffeinated.
Potential.
Yeah. Under spirituality, intuition, illusion, and dreams. Yeah. One more. I gave a shit yesterday. You missed it. I gave a shit yesterday. You missed it. Underworld, sex, underworld, obsession, regeneration, subconscious, empower. Yeah. So she's saying, you know, I wish I would have just said, fuck it.
Roger.
I wish I would have just said, fuck it. I don't care. I want to walk away. I don't need to be a part of this or to do these things to work hard and to know my worth and to know my value. So something about this situation, this was like a culmination of effects. This is like morning, afternoon, and evening. This is like childhood, adulthood, near the end. Okay. Tell me more. Tell me more. So tell me more about this advice your mom gave you. Let me use different cards. What's this advice that your mother gave you? I do love Star Wars as well.
I have bad memories.
I have bad memories. Okay, I was just gonna say maybe I should ask about Star Wars. Tell me about your time on Star Wars. Tell me about your time on Star Wars. Hungry for more. A red vampire trampled her life link at the beginning and sent her to the graveyard. Exiled her. Interesting. And look, she's one woman and all of these men are around her. Interesting. Hungry for more. Tell me about the making of Star Wars from your perspective. Thank you. Tell me more about Star Wars from your perspective. Childish, immaturity, verbal conflicts, victim mentality.
Sarah.
Yeah, I think she was 19 when she started. When she was on Star Wars. So something about already, you know, I told you as a child, she's already, you know, criticized for her beauty and she has to be a certain way. And for, you know, because her mom expects a certain, you know, for her to present a certain way. And so she's already feeling insecure about that. Okay. But she wanted to be in the business, you know, she wanted to make it rain. She wanted to manifest abundance. Okay. But Spirit said forsaken. But I don't think she knew what she was really getting into. Controversy, yeah. Drama, scandal, disbelief, hidden things being revealed. Yeah, there's something about Star Wars that really messed her up. Red flags. I can't make it up. Red flags. Let's see if we can get some details. What's going on the set of Star Wars? Let's do it's kind of a funny story. We'll do it's kind of a funny story.
Listen to this.
Listen to this, she says. Yeah, there's something about her and George Lucas that it really is like, maybe he's a bad apple. Something about him being a bad apple. I just had these in here. They're not supposed to be in there. Something about being a bad apple. Signs, deception, disbelief, scandal. Yeah, something scandalous. Something scandalous that she was put through on the set of Star Wars. Behind the scenes. Something that her mother said is just part of the business. It's just the way it is. You know, you gotta suck a few suckers to make your way to the top. So get to sucking. Something like that. Okay? Because that's what her mom did. And but her mom didn't have a problem with that. Her mom sucked her way to the top, but her mom didn't internalize it the way that Carrie did. She's like, brilliant. Because Carrie's brilliant. Carrie has a whole different set of skills. You know, your children are always going to get the best things. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, thank you for subscribing.
I'm with my children.
I'm with my children. Who would you get their own cooking show on the Food Network? Point a finger. Cooking Network. So someone on the set may have been doing some spirit cooking or some kind of eating a particular kind of food. She may have been forced, or
1960s.
she may have felt obligated to partake or participate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she just said yeah. Have you ever had a friend who wished your relationship was more than it was but couldn't take a hint? Yeah. George Lucas could have possibly Canadians, something about Canadians, could have possibly made advances towards her that she didn't like. That she's only 19, you guys. You know, she's very immature. She might as well be a child. She's immature emotionally. You know, she could be a 10-year-old emotionally at this time. What conspiracy theory do you think has some truth to it? I cannot make it up, you guys. She ate. She ate. She feasted. This director may do that, may partake in that. Some kind of spirit cooking. Because he may have wanted to be more than friends with her. These three fell to the ground. When did you fall for something that at first seemed super easy? Yeah. Oh, is that all I have to do? Oh, you want me to come to this? You want me to come to your house to have dinner? Sure. If you could remove one invention from existence, what would it be? Witchcraft. I would remove witchcraft. Who has the worst sense of direction? She does.
Generosity.
She does, because she's very generous. She's very naive. She's 19 years old doing a epic adventure journey of a hero movie, you know, the hero's journey movie. She wants to be part of the in crowd. She wants to be brilliant. She wants to fit in, you know, but she's like a fish out of water. Fish out of water. If you were invisible for a day, what would you do? I don't know. What would you do if you were invisible for a day? I think she's saying, you know, she didn't want to become invisible because the space opera, yes. Yeah, because her mom was like, you need to do what needs to be done. If you want to go down this route, this is what I had to do, and nobody's going to think you're brilliant if you're not doing what they're doing. You do it. Okay? So very distorted, very, you know, putting on a show, make it look like, you know. Oh, good for you, Jaden. Good for you playing a football tournament. I hope you have fun. Okay, so she didn't want to be invisible, but she also doesn't know how to follow her internal guidance system. She doesn't know how to follow her emotions. You know, sometimes we mistake anxiety for excitement, and we think that we're just excited, or opposite. We mistake excitement for anxiety and anxiety for excitement. Okay, so she doesn't want to be invisible. She wants to walk down the path of her mother. Okay, she wants to be in the industry. Who has a better social life? But her mom is in competition with her. So her mom's like, you're not going to make it in the industry unless you do it the same way I did. And her mom is subconsciously has a little, you know, you're not going to make it in this industry without unscathed. You're going to go through the same pits of hell that I went through. So there's kind of like a little bit of you know, push into that on purpose is literally the devil. This isn't even supposed to be in this deck. They're two
Your
different
screens will
decks.
echo.
Okay? Because I'm telling you, even in the 60s, in the, I don't know when it started. I think it's always, I think this cult, these are ancient practices that have been around since Cleopatra, even since before then. And they just show up in different vehicles based upon
Carl.
the spirit keeps saying Carl. That's like the third time spirit said Carl. Based upon the era that we're in. So, it might show up as Cleopatra, as kings and queens, as pharaohs, as pharaohs. And then, you go down the line and it's going to show up as, the military or the government or celebrity. It's wearing different masks, but it's legion. Okay. Hey, Drake. Hey, Drake. And so we have to remember, or we have to know that just because it's 1960s doesn't mean that this doesn't mean that, who ain't working real hard to use these avenues to influence people on a mass scale. That's the goal. Okay. So the Star Wars and the director of Star Wars, how does someone like George Lucas, let me ask, is literally the devil. How does someone like George Lucas obtain such a high level,
Angel.
movie production? What did he do for that? What story from your life comes to mind when you hear commitment? He made a commitment. He made a contract to, you know who. He sold his soul. What do you do for that? What do you do for that? Who would look directly into an eclipse with no eye protection? 2020 vision. He knew exactly what he was doing. That's exactly what he wanted to do. Wow. Who would most likely blame their fart on someone else? Okay, so that's where her mental anguish really got, solidified and locked in. When whatever she did on, whatever she was forced to do on Star Wars. Everybody must showcase their best dance moves and vote for who can really groove. So something, we have to remember this is a fertility cult. And so the whole premise of the fertility ritual is to have, is to extract fertile energy from specific sources, back door and front door. Okay. And they have these rituals or these orgies or these meetings or these dances or these parties that are really based to get a bunch of people who are, like part of the club, that all participate to come together and get the new blood, and you can't be a part of the movie or the set or anything unless you participate. That's it. You have to participate. Tell us about a time you heard someone gossiping about you. Otherwise, you have your reputation ruined. And if you walk away, if they don't unalive you, they'll ruin your reputation and they'll make it so you can't work in the industry. Okay. So let's see. Tell me more, Carrie. So she's already hungry because her mom has created this insatiable need for attention and adoration and validation, because that's her mom is Debbie Reynolds. that's a big shadow to walk in as a child, especially when this mother comes from an era of needing to look perfect and needing to look a certain way. And if you're going to represent me and be with me, then I need you to show up this way. And I'm going to take you to all my jobs, and I'm going to take you on set. And it didn't, Debbie Reynolds didn't really pour into Carrie for Carrie to find her own way. Carrie just was around her mom so much that she's like, well, I'm just going to do what my mom's doing because, I want to be like my mom. And her mom relished that because she's a golden age celebrity, and she subconsciously has a chip on her own shoulder where she needs her daughter to be like her. Okay? I don't know, it's some weird subconscious thing. Some weird competition. Who has a better social life? Okay. Tell me more about what you participated in. So she may have been very fragmented because of the sex parties that she had while making Star Wars. She may have become very fragmented, and she may have felt very obligated to do that. Very obligated to do it against what her soul wanted, because she had an idea of, she wanted to have a social life, she wanted to be able to, she didn't want to be invisible, but that was the electric chair for her. It was her prison. It's what kept taking her life force. That's what I was saying about this bond. There's something that her mom was like, she was supply for her mom, okay? She was energetic supply for her mom. She always wanted her mom's validation. She always wanted to be successful in the eyes of her mom. Her ultimate wound really starts with her mom. Friction, yeah. Resistance to the motion of a body in contact with another. Any body will do. I'm telling you, I think Debbie Reynolds may have been bisexual, and Carrie Fisher may have, I don't know. Let me see. Let me do some yes, no. Carrie Fisher, are you saying that your mom was bisexual? Yes. Yes. Her mom's bisexual. Your eyes are fully open, seeing what's possible. Okay, I told you there's something about being gay. It's because of these fertility rituals they do. It's men and women, and so they get when you participate, a lot of times over, it could be, I had that card that said what did it say? It was right here. It says, restricted auctions are held once a year at the Dragon's Lair, the sacred neutral meeting ground of all reckoner gangs. So there could be meetings where they have these rituals, but they're basically giant orgies because they're extracting the energy from those energy centers, and it requires sacred sex in order to gain or receive energy from those places. Patience, why do YouTubers secretly meanly troll other YouTubers? I think it's like a multi-dimensional thing. I think that has to be trolls in life, even in YouTube, because you have to have good and bad. You have to have people that provoke you to elicit emotional reactions so you can see where you're at in your emotions. If you didn't have people to provoke your emotions or your triggers or your wounds, then how would you know what needs to be healed? And how would you know that you're in a place of peace if you don't have someone or something to provoke or elicit those feelings out of you? You have to have good and bad here in this planet, because in our natural form and our non-physicalness, we are perfect. Nothing ever goes wrong, and we're pure positive energy, and we are pure love. And so when we come to Earth, it's designed to have a cause and effect, or a push and a pull, or an up and a down, a light and dark. And no matter what you're experiencing or where you're at, there's going to be something anywhere you go, a person, place, or thing that's going to exhibit both. And it's so for you to understand where you're at in your emotions. That's an interesting name, Broken Spoke. I'm sure it's a beautiful service. Join me live Wednesday nights, Standard Time, Broken Spoke, Faith and Fellowship, God. You think you fine? You think you fine? I do. I think I'm beautiful. Spirit says radiant. And you should think that about yourselves. Okay? But the thing is that Carrie Fisher didn't fit this glamorous, Hollywood persona that her mom did. And so that's a big shadow to live in. And it's something that really has played on Carrie Fisher's identity and the way that she has identified or has not been able to identify her own personality. Or no, I don't want to say own personality, because she does have her own personality, but I'd say her own path and how her personality was supposed to unfold her own path and her own skills and her own shit. But instead, because her mom created this wound, she's more concerned about following in her mother's footsteps than actually, figuring out what her path is, because she's so worried about disappointing her mother. Okay. So that's why, she's in Star Wars at 19 and her mom's like, well, if you want to solidify the role and you want to make sure that you're going to get the part, then you should do this, because that's what I did and I became the biggest star. And so her mom may have developed, and what I was saying about the fertility rituals is that when they do the ritual, and the reason why it's blasphemous and why you shouldn't do it is it's basically what you're doing is saying that you don't believe in your own God power, that you don't believe that you're capable of achieving something great.
The rumors are true.
Unless you do this. And the ritual is really on a higher astral level. What it's doing is it's extracting vital force from specific energy centers that will reproduce fertility or abundance in your life. So for riches and stuff. And because this is a holographic reality, this 3D reality, you're basically like hacking the program, and you're using a cheat code is basically what you're doing. But because it has to take your divine vital force, it's not replacing it with any other energy. It's just taking the energy and eating it. And so that's why they have to do so. That's why they have to do so many fertility rituals, or they have to gain so many people, because once they are deficient or deficit in their energy from doing the rituals, they lack vital force. They lack God force. They don't have any more vital force. So they become very thirsty. They become, what was that card I had? Right here, hungry for more. They become very hungry. And it's not like for food, it's for energy, and that's why they become sex addicts and drug addicts and attention whores, and they'll do anything for attention, and they don't mind, having their drama all out on the, public stage, and they can't have any fulfilling, loving relationships because they don't hold the God force that's required to build natural, sustainable, fulfilling relationships. Every relationship they have is based on an empty cup of needing someone else's validation. They fall in love with people who validate them instead of people who support their growth. Yeah, the pit. They're in a pit. And so they become gay, they become bisexual, because it's not because they were that to begin with, it's because these fertility rituals create a deficit in energy, and it doesn't matter who you get the energy from, they'll do anybody, even animals. Okay, she said next. Okay, she's like, move on. Okay, they essentially become vampires. So Debbie Reynolds could have possibly been feeding off her daughter, energetically, like a supply. Her mom could have possibly, slightly been a little, narcissistic, honestly. I want to say that you are very priceless. Who, me? Aw, thank you, Robin. You're priceless to me. My personality. My personality right here. I'm good enough, smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Yeah, she made, and that's kind of what the fertility rituals do, or being promiscuous, being overly promiscuous, having a wound of sexual abuse, that trauma that can create narcissism, because it's taking, it's fragmenting you. It's fragmenting you every time that person or that ritual is fragmenting you into however many people are touching you. And that's where I had, where is it? Oh, I lost it. I had my body, but I don't see it anymore. Oh, right here, friction. Resistance to the motion of a body in contact with another body. Any body will do. Yeah. We're talking to Carrie Fisher and getting a higher perspective from her point of view of her life and what she went through and why she was the way she was. Okay. So, Will Smith at the top of the deck. Yeah, so probably what's going on with Will Smith, not a coincidence. It's because of this fertility cult. You are not, if you can be born gay, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being gay or bisexual, but it can be really like imbalancing. It can be really imbalancing and cause you to have poor reflection skills, to be able to ask yourself, do I really want this? What do I really want this for? Am I really attracted to women, or am I just doing this for attention? And the more you do something to validate yourself, to make yourself feel better, instead of working on feeling better from within and being in connection with your holy, divine, spiritual energy, that is what makes you feel full. And that's why it's blasphemous, and why Spirit says don't do witchcraft, because you're basically saying that I cannot do these things unless I give my power away. And you give your power away so much to the point to where you are emotionally imbalanced, and you start to, and it will create mental imbalances. You will exhibit mental fatigue and bipolar and schizophrenia and haunted. You will haunt yourself. Will Smith fell on the floor. Okay, so tell me more. So, at 28 is when she was diagnosed with bipolar and do your hair? I did do my hair. Bipolar and manic depression. So tell me about that. And the reason why she was exhibiting those imbalances was directly related to her unhealed wounds about her guilt and shame of what she felt obligated to do to be in Star Wars, because her mother gave her bad advice. Okay? Because her mother gave her bad advice. Yeah. Because her mother had a wound too, where she felt unworthy, and like in her heyday, that's what she had to do. Hurt. She was hurt. That's what she had to do. So she said, well, if you want to walk this path, you're going to have to do what I did. And there's no getting around it. So buck up, And Carrie's a different person than her mom. Carrie's a little more sensitive. Carrie is a little more artistic and creative, and she feels people's emotions. She could possibly be even empathic, okay, because of her mom's criticism. She's overly aware of when someone is unhappy with her, and that creates more psychic ability. Okay, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for hitting that like button. A violent barbarian on a pillaging spree. Yeah, she may have witnessed some fucking shit. She may have witnessed some real vile things. She may have, hold on, I'm sorry. Just want to get this person out. She may have witnessed things that were very, hard to swallow. But when you're part of this fertility cult, or when you participate, you're bound to them for life. You can't say anything. You can't tell anyone. You can't leave. And if you do leave, you have to, basically cut off any abundance, people, places, and things that you gained in that energy, and walk away from it all. Okay? So, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that. So you either die, participate, or you have nothing. And I'm not saying, and that's the thing with walking away. You can't keep the things you have. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You can walk away with the things you have that you gained in that energy, but they won't let you be famous again. They won't give you jobs. But if you walk away with nothing and don't keep anything from that lifestyle that you gained, God will protect you. God will show up for you, because you made a choice to let go of that energy. But but if you don't do it, then God can't protect you, because you can't walk in both worlds. Hey dear, my other phone died. I'm back. Oh, thanks, Drake. Thank you so much for being here. A bunch of kids playing on the tracks. Yeah. You have to walk away and start over again, like you're gonna grow yourself up. Like you're going to parent yourself the way you wish you would have been parented. You're going to encourage yourself the way you wish you were encouraged. You're going to let God, you're going to accept that you have no control over, how things unfold. But what you do have control of is how you feel now, and how you heal, and how you can match divine energy, and how you can come back to forgiveness. Those are the things that you can control. So you're like a medium? Yes. God forbids using tarot cards, so you're not of God. Well, I'm not using tarot cards. These aren't tarot cards. These are game cards. And God is not limited by your belief system. God can talk to us in any way that God wants. God is omnipotent. God is omnipotent. God is everything, everywhere, all at once. God is the devil. God is the angels. God is dark. God is light. God made the devils to create contrast in this world. So when you say uneducated things like that, what it really tells me is that you don't have a connection to God, because you are basing your belief systems on a archaic, old world structure that it's not real. It's not true. Okay? I reviewed the spirit of religion and call in the spirit of truth. Thank you, Robin. God is everything. God created the devil. Okay? The God created, and his name's not the devil. Okay, his name's Lucifer. And he created him because he showed that he was really good at creating contrast. And he said, you know what you'd be really good at? I'm going to make Earth your dominion, because I need you to spark the shadows of the humans so they can see the things that are within them that need to be healed. Because if they don't see the things that are within them that need to be healed, then they'll keep perpetuating pain and shame and guilt, because they'll never want to look at it. So I need you to show it to them until they see it. And you do that as many times as it takes until they see it. And what Lucifer does is just reflect to you what you're already thinking, or what already happened to you, or what needs to heal within you. Judgments, greed, lust, and all of that stuff. That's what Lucifer's job is. And so God made that his job because that's what he's good at. And so he plays a part just as much as angels do. And if you want to keep on pretending like there's only one side and that it's good versus evil, then I can tell where you're at in your consciousness. You're not there yet, and you need to keep going, okay? God made him. God is everything. God is everything. God is omnipotent. Frustration. God's frustrated with you guys. You guys are people who are so obsessed with believing every single word of the Bible. You limit the way God can speak to you because you're making a funnel. You know, God's up here, omnipotent, the big side of the funnel, and you're limiting the way he can speak to you by making it smaller and smaller and smaller. Now God has to speak to you like this. And God's like, oh, they're not listening to anything I'm saying because it has to come through in such a specific way because of their belief systems. No, humans wrote the Bible. God didn't write the Bible. Humans did. And so a lot of humans have put in what they want and retracted what they don't want. And I'm not saying there isn't truth in the Bible. There's lots of awesome lessons and programs in the Bible, but you have to, if you really want to know cosmic truth, then you have to go within and you have to get your own answers from your connection with God. But if you limit the way God speaks to you, you're not going to hear the messages. God can speak to you in any way that they want to. Okay? Hey, Jerry. The Bible keeps coming up a lot. The kiddie pool full of babies. A bunch of kids playing on the tracks. Yeah, I'm telling you, Carrie Fisher's telling us right now that to be a part of Star Wars, she had to entertain the director, hands down, soul to soul, okay, to create.
Frustration.
Who would look directly into an eclipse with no eye protection? That's George Lucas, okay? And so he was making moves and wanting to be with Carrie, the person in charge of euthanizing all animals at your local shelter. But he said, you have to come to this party. We're having this party. All of us are coming, and it's required for you to come to continue being on production. So Carrie, not wanting to be invisible because her mom was like, you better do what you got to do in order to lock in your role, she goes to this party, and lo and behold, to her surprise, guess what she has to do? She has to eat the food. Where was it? What conspiracy theory do you think has some truth to it? And who would get their own cooking show on the Food Network? Tarot cards are in the Bible. As a matter of fact, the characters and the happenings are from the Bible, but you people are so limited and you're thinking you don't understand. The Bible goes against every human nature, and he does not speak to us in many ways. I don't see what God sees as much as I want to see. God and people is rare enough. I'm not sure why I hurt so much. Everything I do towards good is flipped on me and used against me. I don't follow the Bible, even though some stuff is true in it. Freedom. Okay. Well, that might have been a common theme for Carrie, because ever since she had to partake in this or participate in this ritual that she did, where she may have, saw barbaric actions taken towards children or something like that. This is something that she couldn't recover from. You can't talk about it. You can't heal from it. You have to keep participating. And so she walked in like a lion. She walked in like a lion. Okay, and she came out like, oh, where is it? Oh, I can't find the gerbil. Now I can't even find it. I have too many cards on the table. But she walked in like a lion and came out like a gerbil. It was a gerbil. Because she's like, how can I come up against this? These sadistic sadists. How am I supposed to come up against this? It's like that card I have in the stair where it's clowns trying to criticize lions, So that's why she's dead inside, but she's caffeinated. Yeah, because she wanted to be part of the show. If people saw what they do or what she did to be famous, then they would know why she's bipolar and manic depressive, because she literally has to know that this is being done, but she has to still be alive and live her life. Like, that's a hard pill to swallow, to know the truth and to fear, to fear breaking away and saying something and having your whole life ruined. Yeah, that'll put you in manic depression. Absolutely. Okay, thanks, Gregory. Let's look in the Bible. There's a lot of Bible talk. Carrie, share a little more info with us. So, she said, corruption, frustration 2 times. This land is cursed, haunted. Amos. There's Aram, Philistia, Tyre, Edom, Ammon, Moab, Judah, Israel.
Admire.
I'm really looking at Moab for some reason. This is Amos chapter 2, Moab. There were 3 crimes and now 4. I will not take it back. Because he burned her to ashes, the bones of Edom's king. I will send fire upon Moab, and it will devour the strongholds of Kerioth. Moab shall meet death amid uproar, battle cries and blasts of the ram's horn. I will cut off the ruler from its midst, and all the princes I will slay with him. It says, oh, that reminds me of this card. It says, I will cut off the ruler from its midst. And look, these horns are cut off. It says it's the ominous parcel. Carrie, are you saying that you were unalived? Yes. Are you saying that this fertility cult unalived you? Yes. Is there a specific reason that we can get to that they unalived you? Yes. Was it because weren't you going to be in the new Star Wars as an appearance? Yes. Did you go because you were intrigued to see how you could, if they would let you do it without doing a ritual? Yes. Did they tell you that you wouldn't have to do one to be a part of it? Yes. Was that a lie? Yes. Did you refuse to do the ritual? Yes. Is that why they came after you? Yes. Because she didn't want to do the ritual again, to be in it again. But she thought, did you think that because you were a seasoned veteran in the game that they might not let you, or they might not make you do the fertility ritual? Yes. But they asked you to do it anyway? Yes. Telling ya. Yeah. She didn't she's like, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't care. That's why she said, I gave a shit yesterday. You missed it. She was already dead inside. She's like, I don't want to go on this way anyway. You want to Yes, I did. She's like, I'm not doing that stuff again. I didn't want to do it to begin with, and I'm old enough now to know better. I'm not going to do it now. Whatever you want to do to me, do to me. Says, and she said, for 3 crimes of Moab and now 4. So she may have, been forced to do it up to 4 times. And then she was like, that's it. I can't do it anymore. I will not take it back. She burned herself to ashes by the bones of the Edoms, by the king of Edom, because she didn't want to devour the strongholds of Carrie. She didn't want to devour children. She didn't want to do that. She didn't want to be part of that. And so she met her death amid an uproar. She knew she was going to die. She knew it. She knew she was going to die. Wow. Tell me about your mom, though. Tell me about your mom. True happiness in God's law. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, this is Psalm 1, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the company with scoffers. Rather, the law of one in his joy, and on his law he meditates day and night. He's like a tree planted near streams of water that yields its fruit in season. Its leaves never wither. Whatever he does prospers. But not so are the wicked. Not so. They are like chaff driven by the wind. Therefore, the wicked will not rise. The wicked will not arise at the judgment, nor will sinners in the assembly of the just. Because the Lord knows the way of the just, but the way of the wicked leads to ruin. Yeah, her mom's elderly at this point. And so there's something about her mom when her mom may have known why she was going to die. Her mom may have known that she refused to do the offer. And so she's like, well, I'm going to refuse it too, to make up to what I did for you, because it's my fault that you're like this. It's my fault. I told you to be a part of it. I told you to participate. I told you because I thought that that's what you had to do to make it. And so she's like, true happiness in God's law. She's like, take me with you. I want to be with you. I don't want to do this anymore either. And because they were bound together, there's something about them being bound together. Her mother gave her child up for sacrifice, okay, for energy. Her mother fed on her energy in order to perpetuate her own career. And so that's why growing up, Carrie was always prone to be more emotional, be more sensitive, be a little more depressed, a little more manic. It's because her vital force was being altered by her mother. You're definitely Italian. I'm 75% Italian and 25% Japanese. So you are correct. And so she didn't want to walk with the wicked anymore. So because of that, because even as an elderly person, you still have to do the rituals. Even as an elderly person, if you want to live, if you want to be abundant, if you want to be relevant, you have to do it for the rest of your life. And so the minute Debbie Reynolds decided, I don't want to do it anymore, that's when her contract was over as well. Please ask her about Hecate and Nix if there's time, respectfully. You want me to ask Carrie Fisher about Hecate? Why? You're a racist uncle. Interesting. Okay, so she didn't want to walk with the wicked either. So she stood by her daughter and said, well, then I'm going to go with you. And she meditated on it, and she decided to be like a tree and planted herself in the emotions
to yield the fruit of being with her daughter. Aww. I love that. I love that. Okay, tell me what happened subconsciously here. We're going to look in subliminal, how your unconscious mind rules your behavior, by Leonard Lodenow. 1:44 on the clock.
I'm in the trees.
As you might imagine, the incident received a fair amount of publicity. Staged conflicts became the vogue amongst them all over. They often involved a revolver, a copycat experiment, a clown rush to crowded scientific meeting, followed by a man wielding a gun. This is metaphorical. The gun is your career. I'll kill your career if you don't participate. So a bunch of clowns who think they have this scientific evidence of something that works all the time. Okay, except it doesn't. It might work to get you money and physical things, but you can't ever have relationships. You can't ever feel fulfilled. You constantly feel empty. You're always wanting more. It's never enough. You're insatiable. You have addictions. You become vengeful. You become spiteful. You become haggard looking. You age faster. You get more masculine. You become more masculine. The man and the clown argued and fought, and a gun went off. Yeah, because she signed up to be part of the new Star Wars, but then she didn't want to do the rituals anymore. She's like, this is ridiculous. So that caused, and there may have been some kind of argument or some kind of incident where there was some kind of conflict. Okay, because they thought it was safe to assume that she would care about the audience and that she would care enough to keep doing it because she wanted validation. That's where they get you. But that was grossly inaccurate. And that was grossly inaccurate because I gave a shit yesterday. You missed it. She said, I gave a shit yesterday. You missed it. So she's like, I don't care. I'm not afraid to die. Okay. And so she walked away. And it appeared that the reports were
extremely quiet.
And it appeared that the reports were in costume, attributed to other details that described a fine hat on the head of the man with a gun. So basically her death, we all think it was a heart attack, but really it's energy manipulation being sent to her because the cord was cut, because whatever she was bound to released her and said, well, you don't want to be a part of it, then you got to go. Okay. And that happens with spiritual warfare. It can look like a stroke or a heart attack or a car accident, or, it's some weird, pneumonia, it's like a weird, just out of nowhere, it just happens out of nowhere. The nature of her memory kept creating errors. It was documented, the incident was documented, and she studied it every day, and she couldn't get past the theory of her memory because she believed that no one can know what her memories are, and they were in vast quantity of detail, and she was confronted with them at every moment of her life, but she couldn't find the common origin because they were like artifacts, and that she didn't have the techniques to employ her mind to fill in the gaps. And so there's a lot of things that she was relying on that were general, that altered her belief system about her prior knowledge of what she did. So she may not have even remembered all the times that she participated because she may have been drugged or whatever. She may not have even remembered that she did it. I love you, dear. Going to bath now and head to the market quick. I will return. Oh, I love you too. Thanks for being here. Okay. And so because of her expectations and her belief system, based on her prior knowledge and based on things that she didn't even remember, she was at odds with the actual events and her brain was fooled. And so that's why she that's why she had such a hard time. She identified with her mental health things, but at the same time, she did not know how to retrieve, or that she even had, or how to gain any knowledge of what actually was contributing to her mental health. Okay. She overheard conversations and would enter at low times, and without realizing it would be incorporated in that information, and she would put it into her memory of the crime scene. But because she didn't have any evidence of these memories, she would think that she was just wrong. And so she may have had like spontaneous memories or flashbacks of these horrible traumatic moments with her mother and with this cult, and what her mother participated in with her in this cult. But because she didn't have any evidence of it and nobody talked about it, she just kind of thought they were false memories. But because she didn't want to look at her mother in that way, she didn't go in and dive deeper into those memories. She may have went no contact with her mom because her mom was a big contributor to conflict in her life, but she didn't go deeper than that because she was afraid of what she might find. Okay. And she was afraid of what she might have. Her imagination gradually subsided. Yeah. And so that's why she was bipolar, because she's living in two different energies. She's living in the middle of between two different energies. The middle of knowing that she shouldn't, participate in these things, and knowing that her mother may have set her up to participate in these things. And those are two different energies. Okay. Wow. Freeze. Yeah, it was like she was frozen, because there was a bias. There was some kind of men associating science with women and arts, and they treated women like there was a correlation between the two, and measures of explicitness, of conscious gender bias. Okay. She basically evil, awful, failure, evil, nasty, and so on. There were no positive words for her. She was a subject of a hostile, evil, nasty environment. Okay? And it just comes full circle to Spirit saying that if you have mental health problems, you are naturally in your natural state pure positive energy. And so I'm not saying that you can't have mental health problems, but be careful. Carrie Fisher is telling us to be careful of what you identify with, because what you believe is going on with you, it will prevent you from seeing the healing that needs to happen, because you are so indoctrinated into believing, well, this is who I am, and I have to accept how I am, and it's never going to change, because mental health can never change, and I'll take the meds and I'll do this. But Spirit is saying that that's not true. You can absolutely 100%, if you have the courage and you're brave enough to face the things that may have happened to you that you don't do, you can absolutely retrieve those parts of yourself, and you do not have to remember the actual experience, but it's just the emotional break, or the trigger that it elicits, or the emotion that it brings, or the insecurity that it brings, that needs to be looked at, or the person that it's reminding you of that you need to heal from. And so if you're not doing that, if you're just going all in and you're watering the garden of mental health, like, I am bipolar, this is how I am, and I'm an advocate, and I'm going to fight for people who have bipolar, but you're not actually looking at the cause of why your field is exhibiting polarity in that way, and you're stuck, you're frozen in the middle. For her, I can't speak for why that is for everyone. That's why you need to be in relationship with your spirit team, because they can see your field from a higher level, from an energetic level. They can see what's on your field that needs to be healed, and things that you can't see, things your therapist can't see, things that medicine can't fix. And when you decide to walk that path with spirit will hold your hand and guide you through on a slow journey that's about the journey, not the destination, where you can retrieve in little drops as you clear your field and you become stronger and braver. you will retrieve those horrible experiences so you can integrate them. And we made a episode about integration on Spirit News. We gave examples. If you want to go listen to that, it's on all major platforms. You can find it through the link tree. But if you're not doing these things in a particular way, it's going to be really hard for you to overcome the depression or the anxiety, because you're not actually taking the steps needed to find the impact point. You have to find the impact point to release it. To reveal is to heal. Tell Carrie Fisher she's absolutely 100% right. You can tell her she's here. I think one of the most wicked things I know is how the medical industry gives you a diagnosis. Do you need a diagnosis, or do you need love? Just a question. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't want to say that medicine isn't important, because Spirit says that medicine can be a gateway to healing, in that it can help you feel what it should feel like to sustain whatever that medicine makes you feel like. But it shouldn't be the answer. It shouldn't fix it. If you want to be able to sustain it on your own, it requires you to go deeper. It requires you to look at things that are uncomfortable, that you may have to, cut off people that you're very comfortable with. You may have to look at yourself in a different way, and understand yourself in a different way, and what you went through and the people around you. Her mother wasn't exactly a good influence on her, but because she was so, her mother bound her to her, she kind of felt like she could never, like she was obligated to stay with her. She didn't break that curse. Her mom used her as a way to, harvest energy off of her, and then kept her in that frequency so she could have a better social life, so she could shine brighter than her daughter. And that's a very contemptuous relationship. But Carrie often felt like, why can't I walk away from her? Why do I feel this way? It's the guilt of walking away from a parent. It's like,
Suffered.
nobody wants to leave their parent behind, but if their parent is not, doing the things that a parent should do, and you're hindering the child, then you have to accept that at some point, and learn to walk away from a parent, or go no contact from a parent that refuses to change. And that's kind of what is going on here. I mean, her parent talked her into doing horrible things just to be famous. Well, I did it, and it's the only way. It's the only way you'll ever be recognized. It's the only way anyone will ever notice you. It's like, you can't say that to a 19-year-old girl. Killer. That's what killed her. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff going on about George Lucas, but we can't read him because he's still alive. He hasn't given us permission. But thank you so much, Carrie Fisher, and Debbie Reynolds. We truly appreciate your input. How can we heal it? Can you please give us some advice for the aftermath of what you know now? How can we heal it? I think it's about what I'm really taking away from this, and I'm going to be putting this information in the new episode coming up, Spirit and Identity, is that just because you're diagnosed with a mental health diagnosis doesn't mean that can't ever be overcome, and it doesn't mean that it won't ever go away. And I think that's the lie that we've been told in our society. Roscoe? I know who you are, Roscoe. What happens if you order a pizza and let it get cold? We're having a serious conversation right now. So if I'm about to reveal Spirit's lessons, so you need to hold your emotions back. Okay? So what I'm getting from this is that just because you're diagnosed with depression doesn't mean that has to be forever, and it doesn't mean that it can't change. And the imbalance of your emotions is going to be directly correlated to things that are unhealed within you, or that are on your field. And your field is electromagnetic. You are magnetic. And so if you're not working on clearing your field to be like a marble, you will attract the things that match your field. People, places, and things. So you'll keep getting relationships that criticize you. You'll keep getting jobs that undermine you and that work you too hard and expect things from you that you're not willing to give. You'll keep doing things that put you in guilt and shame. And that will perpetuate the depression, the anxiety. Those are actions that perpetuate those feelings. And so you have to work on asking spirit to help reveal truth to you, to help you gain clarity of your field. Help me to understand what needs to heal. Help me understand what prevents me from being whole, what prevents me from feeling full. And then you do your due diligence by finding what's good in your life. You have to do your due diligence to find joy, to pick out on purpose, deliberately, with intention, the good things that are going on in your life. Even down to the littlest thing, like having socks. I'm so happy that I have socks. I'm happy I have a running shower. I'm happy I have a place to take a shit. Like
Screen.
the littlest things are what's going to get you every day out of that dark black hole you put yourself in with your thoughts and the beliefs you have about how depressed you are and how no one understands me and no one gets how I got here, and I am this person, so I'm gonna talk to people with this too. But you're not really helping them out because you're not actually getting yourself out. And I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying you don't understand the way it really is because we're not taught the truth about it. They want us to be in this level of emotion because they need us to be hungry. They need us to need validation. They need us to feel a certain way so we're susceptible to their manipulation. So we accept the offer of riches and fame. So we accept their validation of doing weird sexual acts. That's where they need us to be. But if we get to a place where we understand that that was never true, then it's like, okay, well, if that's not true, what's the next step? Well, the next step is to figure out, what is stopping me from being fulfilled? What is stopping me from being happy? What are the thoughts that I allow to perpetuate in my own mind, that I ruminate on, that I think over and over and over again, that I'm magnetically attracting to me because I constantly think about it all the time? Okay? Change in direction. I told you, you can't be afraid to change directions. That's another lesson with Carrie. She took a path that she thought would get her validation from her mother because her mother did not nurture her own path. Her mother nurtured a path to be just like her because she was successful. And if you want to be successful, just follow my footsteps. And so instead of nurturing Carrie's individuality, Debbie Reynolds got off on thinking that there could be a mini-me, but then Debbie Reynolds got jealous and she wanted to be the center of attention. And so she subconsciously placed a seed and incepted an idea into Carrie's mind that in order to be famous, you have to do whatever it takes. You have to do whatever it takes. And that was never true. And that was a wound. And so instead of following her mother's advice, Carrie wishes she would have just followed her own direction, to know that, I don't have to go down my mother's path to be validated, to feel good about myself, to have value, to be worthy. I can follow my own path and I can follow what I'm good at and what brings me joy. You know that you're doing something your soul wants to do when it gives you energy, when it makes you feel joy, when it makes you feel good, you will literally feel like you're high, like you're in bliss. But when you're following things that give you anxiety, that make you feel bad about yourself, that make you wonder if you're doing the right thing, that make you feel tired and fatigued, and you're like, oh, I have to go do this again today. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. So have strength and courage to change directions. I don't think there's a mini-me, but I know there's a maxi-me. The changes you're experiencing are divinely directed by your newborn willingness to open your heart to love and our guidance. You are protected now and in the future, so follow your path to the happy outcomes you desire. Exactly. I told you, when you walk away, when you decide to walk away from all the people, places, and things that you received in a low energy, and you are not around people, places, or things that perpetuate that energy, God will protect you, because you have decided that you can do it with God's help. And you don't need any of these people to make you feel good. And you have let go of the idea that you need anyone else except yourself. And that's when Spirit will protect you. That's when Spirit will guide you. That's when your heart will open up just a little bit every day to allow more and more light in, and your field will get more and more clean, so you can get more clarity on what your purpose is and what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to go about it. And you will be in relationship with Spirit. Come through, smart. I call on Archangel Michael right now into this channel. Cover it with your sword of truth and light and the power of the Christ. Amen. Amen. Carrie also wants you to beware of grief. Tears are what happen when the ice in the heart melts. Yeah, there's some kind of grief. Grief can be a gateway to vengeance, to fears, to not being able to let go of the past. So how can we heal grief? Liberation. The doubts and fears still come up. You don't believe anymore that they're you. Yeah, you're not ever going to stop grieving someone that you lost, or you're not ever going to stop saying, "Oh, that was a really shitty thing I did, but I'm glad that I'm not like that anymore." It's never going to go away, the things you feel guilt and shame about, or the people you're grieving. That feeling never goes away. It's the transmutation of the thought about it. So instead of saying, "How am I supposed to move on without you?" or "How can I possibly live life when I feel so much guilt and shame?" you say, "I really didn't like the way that felt, and I recognize that when I did that, it felt really bad. I would love to not go there again or be around people that elicit that feeling.
Francis.
And please, Spirit, show me the direction I can go to better be able to recognize when these things come up again, so I can change direction." It's about changing the way you speak about it. It's about giving yourself a little grace to know that you can't stop those thoughts, but what you can do is change the direction of them. Okay. I love Carrie Fisher too.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Gratitude. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you to Carrie. Thank you to Debbie Reynolds. Letting go. They both let go at the same time. They decided at the same time, they had a revelation that they do not need what they created to feel validated. They were always worthy. They were always valuable. And they both decided to let go of things that no longer serve them. I love you so much. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. See ya. Bye.